Battleground Varanasi and our election center in the north. We're moving to the south and Chennai. Clearly, with 39 seats, the entire state of Tamil Nadu going to the polls today, it is going to be extremely significant. Remember, Jayalalitha is hoping to sweep all the 39 seats. BJP, with its alliance of 6 other parties, is clearly hoping to dent that. We haven't heard too many kind words coming from Jayalalitha after Narendra Modi flew down to Chennai and met Rajnikant. Rajnikant was, in fact, amongst the first to cast his vote earlier today at the Stella Maris polling booth, which is one of the high-profile ones. Jayalalitha has also voted. Kamal Hassan, Khushbu, all of the celebrities that you see there who play a very important role in the politics of Tamil Nadu as well. Let's listen in to some of them after they cast their vote.
All political parties and the general public to cooperate with the Election Commission of India to ensure that there is a peaceful, free and fair election. I do not wish to make any other remarks now. I will reserve all comment until the results are declared.
We're very confident, and I'm sure we will do very well. And we're very confident about this election, and I think it's even better that it's a multi-cornered contest.
Every point of time we need a stable government, and we should all aim for it. And I've done my duty. I'm sure she has done hers.
Srisha, Rohini and Prem Vada, all our reporters across the south and across Tamil Nadu are reporting for us. Prem Vada, let's start with you. You're at Stella Maris. We've had both Rajnikant and Jayalalitha come in and cast their vote. Rajnikant not saying much. Typical to his style, coming in, casting his vote, but perhaps the message might have gone in those pictures that we saw with him and Narendra Modi.
Absolutely, Maruk, because in 2011 we know literally everyone got the visuals of him pressing the button on the EVM machine against a particular party. He didn't want to commit that mistake this time, so he was very guarded. But we also know for a fact that he met Narendra Modi a few weeks back, and BJP has been using Rajnikant songs in that campaigns and have kind of made Rajnikant their brand ambassador, though Rajnikant did not openly endorse Modi. But it remains to be seen if this will actually convert into votes, because 1996, what Rajnikant was, the kind of status he enjoyed, superstar status he enjoyed, and the following he had is very different from the 2014. Because that was the time when his supporters and his fans were eagerly waiting for him to enter politics, so they were ready to accept whatever he said. But now they know for a fact that he's not going to enter politics. So in fact, he has also cut down the fan clubs that he has. Though he's a big hero, mass hero, he is the superstar and demigod here in Tamil Nadu, but that necessarily does not mean that it will be converted into votes. Also, in 2004, Rajnikant made an open endorsement for Vajpayee. He said, I'm going to vote for Vajpayee, but I'm not going to ask my fans to vote or decide whom they should vote. But this time around, he didn't tell that for Narendra Modi. So there's a huge difference how the fans will interpret it. So if BJP is going to be banking just on Rajnikant, I don't see that converting into votes actually.
Okay, and Srisha is outside Karunanidhi's house. Srisha, clearly for Karunanidhi, he is a master at political statecraft, but at the same time, he's somebody who's facing a lot of turmoil within his party. Srisha, can you hear me? Okay, I don't think Srisha can hear me at this point, but let me come to Dr. Patra of the BJP, who's here with me in the studio. Dr. Patra, the BJP has been trying to cobble an alliance, and honestly, compared to the Congress party, has done really well. But do you honestly think that Jayalalitha, with the kind of comments that she's been making, a direct attack at Narendra Modi, the BJP will be able to make any kind of headway?
It's the first time we have a rainbow alliance, 6 parties plus the Bharatiya Janata Party, we have a rainbow alliance. And if you are reminded of the fact that the rainbow alliance itself has almost 16% of the vote share that it took the last election. So naturally it is one of the most important elections that Bharatiya Janata Party is facing this time. And after 1999, when we had built the inroads into Tamil Nadu, I believe this will be the next big thing for Bharatiya Janata Party in Tamil Nadu. And we are sure with the kind of wave that the country is envisaging as far as Mr. Modi is concerned, our take in Tamil Nadu would be really a fabulous one.
Okay, Professor Vishwanath, do you believe that the Modi wave versus the Jayalalitha wave, are they going to crash against each other? What do you foresee?
Look, for Jayalalitha, Modi is a poor MGR. Let's be very clear. I think what you have to emphasize is, actually basically what you got a few nuisance parties stuck on to the BJP. They have just been defanged, so they're not a nuisance in the second round. Otherwise, I think it's very clear. BJP might get a few nibbles here and there, but to talk of national impact, I think is a bit exaggerated. I know there's a wave, but I don't think the wave has reached these areas as yet.
Okay, the wave hasn't reached these areas. Let's look at the alliance that the BJP has formed.
The BJP has stitched together a formidable-looking alliance in Tamil Nadu, but how crucial are these small parties to Modi's big plan? The DMDK, led by actor-turned-politician Vijay Kant, was the first logical step, since it is the only party that can claim to have a vote bank across Tamil Nadu. Vijay Kant was expected to have bargained hard and cornered 14 seats, including 5 from which it had won by over 1 lakh votes in 2009, and another 2 seats where it won by over 90,000 votes. The Pattali Makkal Katchi, the PMK, was one of the more difficult pieces in the jigsaw, considering the BJP had to accommodate the interests between the DMDK and the PMK for the same piece of the communal vote share in the same region of influence. Though a compromise was reached, the rivalry is expected to continue. The PMK represents the Vaniyars, a community that accounts for over 12% of the vote share, a crucial vote bank for the Bharatiya Janata Party. The MDMK has been the loudest endorser, remember, of Narendra Modi as Prime Minister. Vaiko has had a good working partnership with the NDA during Vajpayee's Prime Ministership and will be hoping that Modi can now revive the party's relevance. Remember, the party was forced to sit out of the last assembly elections after it was ejected out of the AIA-DMK alliance. It must win at least 7 seats to stay relevant in the coming days ahead. The KMDK represents the Kongu region, the western industrialized belt of Tamil Nadu. The party is a startup in the sub-regional caste-based political grouping, espousing the cause of intermediary communities like the Gaundars. What makes the caste more influential is their financial might. According to some estimates, the region contributes to more than a third of Tamil Nadu's total revenue. The IJK is a surprise constituent of the NDA. Formed before the last assembly election in the state, it did not win any seats and lost its deposits in most of them. But what lacks in political strength, it makes up for with overall clout.
Okay, and joining us is Shrisha. I hope you can hear me this time around. Shrisha, also Rohini is joining us from outside Dayanidhi, or she is in Dayanidhi Maran's constituency. But coming to you first, Shrisha, you're outside Karunanidhi's house. Here's a man who's fighting not just the AIA-DMK, but also fighting the battle within, between his sons. What kind of morale is there within the DMK cadres, and do they think that they're going to make any headway?
Mauruk, as far as these elections are concerned, it's going to be very crucial elections for DMK itself, not because they are going without aligning with any national party, but because of the family feud inside, because of the brothers, MK Adigiri and MK Stalin. So this is the first time that after Adigiri's expansion that we are going for elections, and of course it's going to be very crucial at this point in time, because after Adigiri was expelled and MK Stalin had been the succession in the party, so the DMK chief had clearly cleared all these uncertainties in the party and making MK Stalin as the next command-in-chief, though there is no official statement, but still a lot of the actions and MK Stalin has been taking to streets for the campaigning itself. So that very clearly points out that MK Stalin has been emerging as the next high-in-command after Karunanidhi. At this point in time, we are of course waiting right outside the Karunanidhi's polling booth, where Karunanidhi and DMK party treasurer MK Stalin would be arriving at this particular booth to cast their oaths. So this is at this point in time. I also have a first-time voter with me. Let's just ask her, what she has to say. This is the first time that you're voting, so were you nervous?
Yeah, I was nervous at the beginning, but now it's fine. I got used to it.
What did you vote for?
I voted for a party with lesser corruption rate, because in the choice that we have now, no corruption is not possible. So a party with a lesser corruption is better off.
So this is what in the young minds, of course, they don't want party with the corruption. So she's voted for a party with less corruption. So that clearly shows out that, of course, her vote is making a much of difference, is what she was talking about. So this is the first time voter that what she has to tell us on Headlines today.
Okay, interesting that she says that there is no party without corruption, and perhaps the one party that is perhaps higher in terms of not being as corrupt as the other. And we're going across to Rohini, who's in Dayanidhi Maran's, at Dayanidhi Maran's polling booth, if I've got that right. Rohini, clearly as far as Dayanidhi Maran is concerned, he's been targeted again and again by Jayalalitha over the 2G scam. Corruption is the biggest taint against Dayanidhi Maran, wouldn't you say?
Sure. Show the visual. Yeah, Maruk, as I can show you right now that Mr. Dayanidhi Maran has just entered the polling booth. He's ready to cast his vote at this point of time. Mr. Maran, if I can quickly ask you a question. At this point of time, he says he will vote and come back and speak. But more importantly, this is a very crucial stage, a crucial election for the DMK for that matter, or especially for Tamil Nadu elections. Very importantly, at this point of time, the polling booth that I stand, Mr. Dayanidhi Maran, while he votes, he is one person who has placed a lot of flag because of the fact that there are cases against him, and other parties have said there are corruption cases against him, and why should he stand for elections? For the DMK, for that matter, it is very important that they rise this election.
Okay, Rohini, we'll have to stop you there. Let's go across to Premvada. She has a guest with her. Go ahead, Premvada.
Well, Maruk, we have Mr. N. Ram, who just casted his vote. So, what is going to decide the mandate here, and how different is the fight in Tamil Nadu? You have seen many elections before. How different is the fight this time here in Tamil Nadu?
The Tamil Nadu fight looks much more decent than what I read in the press about what's happening in the north, particularly Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and so on, the hate campaign. Here also, they exchange blows, but that's all within the game, by and large. Of course, it's another matter when you look at how much money has been spent, whether votes have been bought, whether the law has been observed on electoral spending. Obviously not. But at least at the level of public discourse, there has been a decent debate. Both parties, the two main players, the AIDMK and the DMK, have put forward their claims. They are both formidable parties with formidable organizations. It's been a good campaign because it's not a one-horse race. It appears, at least so far as the campaign is concerned. And you also have the BJP front.
Do you see them doing well? They're calling it a grand alliance, and also that photo op Rajini had with Modi. Do you think it's going to help at all?
I'm allowed to answer that question here. I think it will flop. The BJP show here will flop.
And what about Jayalalitha? We saw just before you came, Jayalalitha casted a vote. She didn't make much. She didn't talk much. She's in fact been avoiding media for a while now. What are the calculations? What's going on? The post-poll, do you think it's still on with the BJP?
The last time she was not chief minister then, AIDMK leader Jayalalitha came here. I remember meeting her, and she spoke, and she was quite confident at that time. And the expectations didn't come true, but this time I think the campaign has been different. She's won a big victory, so I think it's not surprising that she lets the votes, the numbers will speak after the election. She was asked that, in fact, when they asked about her prime ministerial ambitions, and she said, I remember after Prakash Karat met her, and this question was raised by some of you, maybe you, that she said it's pointless to talk about it now. I remember a very famous question attributed to the Soviet leader Joseph Stalin in the Second World War. How many divisions does the Pope have? So everything will depend on how many divisions these parties have, the numbers they have, the seats, before they can really speak later. But she's the incumbent chief minister and won a big victory earlier. So I think I'm not surprised that she didn't respond to all kinds of speculative questions.
And also finally, do you see Stalin really becoming the leader of the party? He's almost taken over the party, but with this election, do you see him proving ascertaining his position in the party and proving that he's ready for 2016 to go it alone without his father's support?
Yeah, I think as long as Mr. Karunanidhi is there, able, and he will have a role to play. There's no question about it. I've known him for the past several decades. Stalin is a revelation because this campaign, the way he has conducted it, it's a very good campaign, very effective campaign at the organization level. He's not made any boasts. In fact, I had a chat with him, which I can't really reveal. But I think he's led in his own style without trying to overshadow or sideline his father. I think a very effective campaign. So good luck to whoever is going to get ahead in this election, but the polls speak for themselves. The poll results, you know them.
Thank you very much, sir. So there, Mr. N. Ram making some significant comments about the Tamil Nadu election scenario.